What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Friday, everybody. Okay, so just a few clarifications about my last video because I just want to make it clear that Burlison said that Grush told him that the bodies that he saw from the information that he was privy to have many similarities in the morphology to the Nazca beings, the tridactyls. I am not sure, and I honestly doubt that Grush knew Burleson was going to be in the same room with Dr. Stephen Greer, for example, or that everything that's been happening with the Bugasphere and Jaime Maussan, obviously. You guys need to remember, Grush is really good friends with people like, for example, Jeremy Corbell or George Knapp. And if you guys don't recall, both of them and that TMC documentary completely dismissed the mummies. So on one side, Grush is talking to them constantly, I would presume. But on the other side, Grush was also interviewed by Jesse Michaels. And I don't know how much Jesse has spoken to Grush about the mummies. So we don't really know how convinced he is that they're real. I would think that he at least thinks they're interesting, the M types. I think that maybe was what Burleson was talking about. But I'm almost certain that Grush probably didn't like that he was mentioned by Burleson in this context. I don't know yet, but that would be my guess because he already has a lot going on. I am glad, though, that at least Burleson did say that he expressed that Grush at least feels they're interesting, though. I don't know. But I just wanted to make that clarification because I don't think that Grush would have agreed or would have been happy to know where Burleson was and the whole thing with the sphere and all that, That's just my guess. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But we will probably know something within a week or something about this whenever we have more information, and I will happily share it with you. So that's that. But that's not why I wanted to talk to you guys. Again, I want you guys to help me disentangle a web that my friend Matt Laslo at Ask A Pol has been trying to get more clarity about. And that is, why has Congress not gotten access to SAP information? Specifically, people from the UAP Caucus. I am talking about Chair Ana Paulina Luna, new Oversight Ranking Member Robert Garcia, and Secrets Task Force members Representative Nancy Mace, Representative Tim Burchett, and Representative Ehrlich Burlison. Because apparently they didn't get access, though, that's for sure. But apparently we're playing a blame game now. And it's really disappointing to see because I think that this is turning into a political kind of confrontation of Republicans versus Democrats. Because of this, this came out yesterday from Ask A Pol. He spoke to James Comr, who is the chair of the House Oversight Committee. And both he and Speaker Johnson appear to be, according to these signs that Lazlo is throwing, they appear to be the ones that denied the SAPs to the UAP caucus. But he was asking yesterday James Comr, and this is the exchange between Lazlo and Comr. And remember, please subscribe to Ask A Pol. This is real journalism, if you ask me, because I'm going to tell you what else happened today. But this is from yesterday. James Comr and Matt Laslo.
Yeah, I think Luna talked to you. Did you hear these accusations? They're saying that group Arrow, the UAP issue, that it was GOP leadership that kept the UAP caucus from seeing SAPs.
It's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want Luna to have whatever Luna wants.
Yeah.
But everybody's interested in that stuff,
So you did give her a 6-month extension for secrets?
I'm going to do whatever she wants. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
I know. I try to please Luna. Hard to please sometimes.
What have you thought of the work of the Secrets Task
What?
Force? What have you thought of the work of the Secrets Task Force?
Well, it's difficult to get stuff. I told her that when we started. I said, listen, everybody said, well, you need to demand this. Look, you can demand it all day long. You run into the deep state. The deep state doesn't want, and Trump's cabinet.
Did you hear that? That's Representative James Comr openly talking about a deep state. That's interesting. What would he consider to be the deep state? And I know I was kind of naive the last time I spoke about the deep state. It was just a rhetorical question. It's more than likely that there is some kind of rogue government acting behind the scenes. Everything points towards that. So no, I was not being naive. I was just, in case anybody comes in and doesn't know exactly what I'm talking about, I need to remain very inquisitive and yeah, so basic a little bit, I would say. But yeah, of course, it's possible, definitely possible, that some kind of a deep state does exist.
People came in, released JFK files, released the Epstein files. Well, it's still going to take some deep state bureaucrat to do it, you know.
So you don't. Why hasn't the administration been able to ruffle some of that up?
Because they've got they battle hostility, they battle hostile employees.
Yeah.
And that's that's what, when you bring in outsiders, I don't think they really understand how hostile the deep state is. And
Wow, that's wild. So there's like an open war within the walls of Congress, and that includes the administration. And yeah, it is what I'm telling you guys about. This is like mostly about politics. Wow, this is wild.
first of all, you assume that administration's left damning evidence behind.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that the files were destroyed. So that's that. I mean, it's tough, and I told her that. She sees that, but she's a bulldog, and she's trying to get it. She's trying to get answers. I think she's the perfect person to do it. She's doing a good job. It's just
I got to say, you got a day job, sir. Appreciate you.
Okay, so that's Comr trying to explain why it hasn't happened yet. And this also would include subpoena power, not just access to SAPs, because that is also really, really important. And some people don't understand that, how important that is, because that is needed to get hostile witnesses against their will, because they get subpoenaed. And coincidentally, Luna recently announced that they got a subpoena. And how did she get that? If she already got one for something other than the UFO topic, why can't she get one for the UFO topic? Maybe she can explain a little bit. That'd be nice. But then today, Lazlo spoke to Jim Himes, who's also part of Congress. And he just asked him a really technical question that I thought was really brilliant. So here it is. Okay, so Lazlo made a kind of a long post that I really liked. He said, Chair Comr, Speaker Johnson likely blocked UAP Caucus from SAP's top HPSCI Democrat says. And Lazlo also wrote this, and I'm just going to quote him, and I'm not going to show. He wrote this on his personal X account. I'm going to link you to that too. He said, increasingly looking like Representative James Comr and or Speaker Johnson denied classified access and then lied to Chair Real Paulina Luna, new Oversight Ranking Member Robert Garcia, and Secrets Task Force members Nancy Mace, Tim Burchett, Representative Burlison, etc. So this is what Lazlo thinks. Because of this, Lazlo asked this really technical question, and just look at how he formulates it, and look at how Jim Himes responds.
Know who would control access to giving people on oversight access to SAPs or special actions programs? Would that be the speaker?
I think, but I'm not 100% sure. that the committee of jurisdiction can vote to make that happen. But you'd have to confirm that. Yeah.
But it would be Congress, not the Pentagon.
No. It would be a legislative decision. Yeah. Hi.
Thank you.
So Lazlo was trying to find out if the Pentagon or maybe the presidency were preventing this from happening, i.e., potentially the deep state. And Himes told him no, that this is completely a legislative decision. So it must be somebody from Congress who is blocking this, whether it's due to incompetence, threats. We saw that Comr mentioned the deep state. So he's kind of telling you there between the lines a little bit of what might be going on. But today is kind of like feels like a Burlison kind of day, because in that same interview from my last video, he was also talking about the whole process and how they think this is going, this denial and this blocking of them accessing SAPs. And this is really enlightening. And shout out to UFO bloke Wixie, who always posts stuff about the mummies on X for me. So thank you, man. He does a lot of different stuff, not just clips, a lot of information about different types of topics pertaining to UAP and different phenomena. So you might want to check that out. This is what Burlison said on Redacted earlier today, besides what he said about the tridactyls.
There's so many whistleblowers who are ready to come to Washington. They've got these stories. They've worked in the government. They've worked on these classified programs. Where are we with all of that? Are we going to get some big answers soon? Are you hoping?
I think we're just trying to make progress right now. We're trying to look. I've been frustrated in this experience. For example, one of the individuals that recently retired, the deputy director of Aero, he was on a media circuit where he said that he spoke with the Department of Defense and the individual that was managing the special access programs that he had access to, and was prepared to give that briefing to myself and other members of the disclosure task force, and they were denied the ability to give us that briefing by someone in leadership, whether he believed it was either the speaker or the chairman. But so we're trying to figure out what exactly happened. It's extremely frustrating when you're put into a position where you're supposed to be investigating something and you're getting blocked at every turn. So that's kind of where it is frustrating. That's why I'm doing everything I can to kind of to continue to push. And if there are whistleblowers, if anybody's watching this and you have something to say, please reach out, because we're trying to get information from any place that we can.
That would be Matthew Brown, maybe, and somebody else, but hopefully you already spoke to him too. According to Corbell, you kind of did, and he wasn't part of the last hearing. So what's going on there? You're asking for whistleblowers, and what about Matt? Just an idea. But yeah, as you can see, if one word would describe what's happening right now with all of this, I would say it's maybe a shit show, probably. But yeah, I mean, I've told you about this, and Lazlo is always very clear when he talks about how incompetent politicians in America and pretty much everybody everywhere in the world are, and they are. They're a mess, especially now that's so divided everywhere. And yeah, but let me know what you think about this, about what Matt Laslo is getting at, because he's basically saying that either Comr or Johnson or both lied to the UAP caucus. And why did they lie? Is it possible that they've been threatened or intimidated in any way? Comr is talking about a deep state already, so publicly like that, that's pretty wild. Let me know what you think in the comments about this. Let me know what you think about whistleblowers potentially coming forward. Do you think we got more coming? I think Corbell and Knapp have been saying that they will probably release something about one of those already recorded interviews with some whistleblowers. Corbell already said they were firsthand. We'll see what happens, but no matter what happens in Congress and the obfuscation and blocking and potentially by the deep state, Corbell and Knapp are still going to release whatever they're going to release. They've been teasing it, and they always do. They always release whatever they say they will. So whenever they do, depending on how compelling they are, would be a great idea if we could get a hearing before Congress goes on a break, which is in August. But there's still time. So let's see what happens. Let me know in the comments. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's all you need to do in order to help us, and it is what helps us the most, so thank you. But if you want to help us in any other way, there's a few links down there. You can become a member on YouTube, or you can support us through KGRA. Anything you choose to do is always appreciated. So thank you. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive like Matt Laslo at Ask A Pol. Always. Bye.